Hello, welcome back to Fred in the Shed. I hope you're doing well today. Got another little shortwave radio to look at. This is another TEF6686 chip. This time it's the Deepelec TEF6686 using the latest NXP version of the TEF chip. Slightly lower price than the ATS125 that we looked at previously. Currently on Banggood at full price of £59, but of course I'll get you a little discount for that, and that will be in the description. So just above £50 and you get free postage as well. Let's get it on the bench and have a proper look at it. As always with these TEF radios, not much of an unboxing experience, but they have made an effort here. So in the box we get the radio itself. We'll look at that in a second. Do get a rather nice little carry bag with a pull cord. It is a portable radio, of course. Also, an extremely nice USB-C charging lead. It's a corded type. So that looks a higher premium. And then finally, you get a very high quality SMA telescopic antenna. And pulling that out, I would say that's about just under a metre, about 80 centimetres long. But do like the bottom part here, where you have an isolation sort of plastic part. And yeah, a very nice knurled grip, much better than some of the cheaper antennas that you get. And that's really about it. Now with all these radios, unfortunately you don't get any instructions, but there is a comprehensive instruction manual online that you can view and you can print out. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Just attaching the antenna. Now what I mean about this higher quality antenna with the isolation part here, it has a locking ring. So whereas it's quite loose on its rotation, when you tighten down the ring there, like that, that is now locked on that degree of angle. It's quite firm as well on the hinge, but that's definitely an improvement over the cheaper ones that tend to flop about. So yeah, I'm quite liking that. That's a very nice touch. Comes down to the radio itself. Let's have a quick look at its construction. It's a little unusual. It kind of looks like one of those kits that you might build yourself, although I imagine this would be quite difficult to build because the outer case seems to be made out of, I would say, like a fiberglass printed circuit board type material, and it slots together with these little location slots here, and then it has little screws holding it together. It's quite unusual. It looks a little industrial, but it certainly does the job. I don't know how this would fare if you dropped it. In my experience, this kind of fiberglass circuit board tends to be very brittle. So yeah, the corners I think are going to be a little bit vulnerable on this, so you're going to have to take care of it, which I'm a bit surprised about because this, obviously with that bag, is a travel radio. Very nice screen on this radio. 2.8 inch LCD, is a resistive touchscreen. You do not get a stylus though in the box, which is a bit of a oversight in my opinion, but it's very responsive and you can get away with just using your finger really. Nice and clear, nice and bright, quite reflective, and again, as we've found with these screens, although you can adjust the brightness, they can be a little bit difficult to use out in the field, especially if it's a sunny day, but no problem indoors. As this is the TEF chip, it has got the latest NXP version, so we get AM, FM, long wave and broadcast shortwave, and that's from 1700 to 27 megahertz. No SSB. And I know that's going to be a kill switch for a lot of you, but that's just how the TEF chip is. Again, this one stops at 27 megahertz dead. I do wish they'd extend that, maybe even extend it up to say 27405, and then we could get the AMCB band. As it stands, we can only get the very few lower channels, which isn't really much good. But that's how it is. Comes with a 3.7 volt, 5000 mAh battery. Should have a long run time. We do have the usual things such as auto station storage as well, so you just press one button, it'll go through, store all of your stations in memory. Quite like the layout of this radio. I think they've done a good job here. So you have the big red power button, which is in a way more of a standby button. If you press it, the radio switches off. Press it again, it comes back to life. But the main power switch is the little tiny switch that's hidden underneath here. That saves you accidentally hitting that if you were to take this portable in your pocket. Very nice that it's got a bandwidth feature here, something you're probably going to use on shortwave, increase that for the stronger radio stations. And then you've got your tuning controls. So as it stands, works the same as the other TEF radios we've tested. By pressing in the encoder here, you can see that little green dash. Gives you very simple control there. Yeah, definitely quite like that. If you press the mode button here, we can go to auto, and I'll demonstrate. Auto is just auto tune, so you turn that and it will just tune till it finds a station. It's not going to get very much on long wave at the moment, so we'll stop that. Also, another press takes you to memory, and this is where your memory presets are. I think it's got 199 memory presets, and again you can then go through your memory presets. I've got none installed. And then after that, you've got the band, which is your simple medium wave, FM, short wave, and then back to long wave again. Very, very easy to use. Numerical keypad for just entering in the frequency. Yeah, no problem there. And that's pretty much really about it for the front of the radio. Now when we come onto the side of the radio, now this is good. This is an improvement on the ATS125. So this, we have two pots. Simple volume control. The radio does go very loud, and then we have the squelch control here as a little, hope you see that little tuning sort of wheel here. Now the squelch function, yeah, I mean you're only going to really use it on FM, aren't you? It's not something I'm going to use, but I'm glad it's kind of out the way. And then the top pot is how it should be on the ATS125, and this is your tuning. It is a stepped encoder. It does feel quite nice. And then you just press that to do the functions. Will also work on the menu as well. Top of the radio, just the antenna port. This side of the radio, little reboot switch. Hopefully we won't be using that. Headphone socket, display light that stays on all the time when the radio switched on. Also is your charge light, and USB-C there for charging, and also firmware updates, because obviously this is supported. Back of the radio, nothing going on, just a little printout giving you the frequencies and the sensitivity. And of course underneath there have a little cooling vent, and then we have the on-off switch there for the main part of the radio. So yeah, I think they've done a very good job. I think they've done a good job with the button layout. I think in a way it's probably better than the ATS125. So as always with these TEF radios, it really shines in its FM mode. You've got all of this RDS information that comes up. I'm getting quite a poor signal up here in the shack due to interference with all the lights, but it's still managed to pick up the basics. Once again, this is really an enthusiast radio. Loads of menu options available, depends where you click on the screen. For example, if we click here, we have the radio's own built-in menu system here. We can do the basics here. It says that it has Wi-Fi. Didn't see that in the description, so it says it has Wi-Fi. Bluetooth, I think that's only one way though. And then just basic settings on the radio, brightness, volume and whatnot. You press mode to go back, and then if you click further down, we can change some of these parameters. We can add information here on the bottom. So I think we can switch that off or switch it back on again. There we go. And then if we click on the frequency, straight into the frequency to change. So yeah, I mean you can see that there's a lot of parameters here. Then we've got the main menu. This is where the sort of meat and veg of the radio is. Connectivity. Oh yeah, it has got Wi-Fi, so we have got Wi-Fi here. Pretty much the same as the ATS125, to be honest. I mean, as I say, this really where the enthusiastic part of it comes in. I mean, there's so many different settings here you can go into. You can play with these to your heart's content. It really is an interesting radio to use, especially for £50 really. And your display settings here, you can display what you want on the signal there. yeah, I mean, you play with these to your heart's content. So picking up radio 4 here in the shack, we'll getting a bit of RDS information. Let's just turn it up and see what it sounds like on this built-in speaker.
Well, obviously I'm disappointed with how the vote went, but I thought it was a really excellent debate and there were some very powerful speeches made on both sides in the chamber. I mean, I personally would have preferred that we went back to the drawing board with the government taking the lead on.
So not much bass out of the little speaker, but it does go very clear, and certainly with a spoken voice sounds really nice, perfectly adequate for a radio of this size. Well, it is a bit compromised up here with all of the electrics, so we take it outside and then we'll test the long wave, the medium wave and a little bit of short wave.
Else here. Then you've got yourself a festival. That's at least 2 bottles of beer, maybe 1 tattoo from the place over there, a spud from the spud man.
Has many strings to her bow. A comedian, actor and screenwriter, she's now starring in her first sitcom.
It shows that in a very strong way, but the court has to determine that so we can go forward with clarity. And that's not just for us, that's for the residents as well.
Everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. For a girl like you, don't want a guy like me, and it feels so good I could barely breathe.
Do you want to know how the tennis is going?
Yeah, give us an update.
So Bautista Agut is taking on Alcaraz, so it's more Spanish affair.
Yes, yeah. And so therefore, if you would say just wake up and just look and see the direction that this is all going. Cause if you shoot
Whatever I do, I'll play my very last song for today. Enjoy the remainder of the weather, the sunshine, and each other.
Il Trovatore, Verdi's epic opera of obsession and superstition, returns to the Royal Opera House this summer.
Range that use AI to make speech sound clearer. And they're all available at great Specsavers prices. Book a free hearing check today.
I just feel like I won't get you out of my mind. I feel when I start to dance, people get wonderland.
At Poulton's Park.
You could be a lotto millionaire like Terry.
And 200 more when you deposit and spend £10 within 30 days. All with no wagering required.
Thecasino.com. Over 18s only. T's and C's apply. Please gamble responsibly and remember, keep it fun.
Chat and start connecting to the people and places you love for less with GroupSave. Nothing beats being there.
From Global.
Latest hip-hop
and R&B.
Welcome to the party.
Capital Extra.
Every baby in England will have their DNA tested under a 10-year plan for the NHS. The Health Secretary says whole genome sequencing will screen for hundreds of diseases. The Prime Minister's condemned an attack on aircraft at an RAF base as a disgraceful act of vandalism. A pro-Palestinian campaign group says members broke into Bryce Norton and spray-painted jets. The government's considering banning the organisation, effectively declaring it a terror network.
Wales because of this week's heat wave. Experts, including some at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, have used decades of statistics to predict excess mortality during hot spells. An amber heat health alert covering all of England is in place until Monday.
Raising awareness, because unless you know about PrEP, then you can't then make those decisions for yourself to access HIV testing and think about PrEP.
Remember the old days of McEnroe, Borg, and Connors? Showing us a little bit more emotion would be nice, because you need that crowd to get behind you somehow.
Well, we certainly had a little bit of that in the last match with
नहीं चाहता है तो अपनी लुक आफ्टर करना बहुत ज़रूरी है एंड अगर आपको कोई खास गाना नए वर्ड पर
on the same day, and Noble Champion has done exactly that, and another winner for Kieran Schumacher, who was so pleased to have his Royal winner yesterday, and now he's got a second winner. It will mean so much to him.
But what is the wider message that this vote, this decision sends?
I think it's sending out a lot of messages. It's sending out the message. I mean,
ጎርጎሮሳውያኑ በ1957 ዓመተ ምህረት በርዕሰ ሊቃነ ጳጳሳት ፒዮ 12ኛ የተመረቀ ሲሆን በሳንታ ማሪያ ዲ ጋሌሪያ በሚባል አካባቢ
Капитану Батлеру от 25 ноября 1861 года писал о нападении Англии и Франции. Однажды двое бандитов ворвались в летний...
Even going back directly to their countries to new ways of doing business. And some numbers here that the number of tourists going into EU increased by like 30%.
Wow. So we went away on the way for a while until we were just waiting for the podium. And they told me that I'd won it because they kind of looked at the...
One last thing before I forget. The radio does support airband, and I know a few of you have said, oh Fred, why don't you ever show the airband? The reason is that unless you know the exact frequency that an aircraft is going to be operating on, or you live very close to an airport, because of the scan speed of these radios, it's very difficult to capture aircraft communication. I've set these radios up before in front of the camera and left it for 2 hours, and I've actually got nothing. So if you're into aircraft, I don't recommend these radios as your first option. You're still better off with an old-fashioned used scanner like this Comtel here, Radio Shack. That scans really quick, and that will capture aircraft. So that's why I don't show it, but it has got it there if you want to play with it. Let's get on to the conclusion. Very mellow ending to the video. So conclusions then, what do I think of this DP6686, which is a 6686, lots of sixes here, TEF chip radio. I quite like it. I do quite like it. I think, like all of these TEF radios, if you're someone that really likes to delve into the menu options, because there's so many parameters you can change on this radio, it is mind-boggling. I mean, I've been sitting here all day trying to show you all of them. You can even change the fonts on the display. You can change the backlight on the display, red, amber. It's just crazy what you can do with it. So if you're one of these people that like to go into that, you'll love this radio. But in saying that, if you just want to use it as a basic radio, well, of course, we have buttons on the fascia there, so it's quite easy to use just as a basic radio. Now, as an everyday radio, where this shines, and it's the same on all of the TEF chip radios, is its FM performance. It's quite phenomenal. Now, you would have seen when I was outside, just with the standard antenna fully erected outside there, it was just picking up station after station after station, and there were some even weaker ones that I didn't bother putting on the video. So over, what was that, 3.5 minutes or something, I mean, every time I pushed the seek, it was another station. Some of those stations I've not heard of before, and I certainly don't get those in the car. Quite extraordinary. And if you use the headphones, the spatial stereo is really something, and you can adjust the bandwidth as well. And of course, you can go into the display, and you can get all of the other RDS information. There's so much there. And again, for DXing, you can set it to the lower part of the FM band if you want to go for DX FM station. So yeah, it's a dream. When it comes down to the other bands, long wave, it's adequate. I mean, there's only one station I can get on long wave and Radio 4, and that's going to be closing down soon. Medium wave, yeah, it's average, I would say, on medium wave. It's not exceptional. Shortwave is good. Obviously, there's no sideband, we know that, but shortwave is good. Doesn't suffer from any cross mode from that great big AM station I've got down the road at Brooklands Park. Some of the cheaper radios, was it a 4732 chip, that they can suffer quite badly. This one is quite selective. It rejects that, which is good. As far as what it brings in on shortwave, of course, it comes down to your antenna. It doesn't overload. It doesn't overload that easy. And again, you can go into the menu system, then you can change the attenuation and things. But it's, yeah, I'd say it's good. It's good on shortwave. It's not exceptional, but it's good on shortwave. And yeah, overall, I'd recommend it. It's a nice little radio. Criticisms about the radio, not many at this price point. I think it comes down to the design and the build quality here. It does very much remind me of a Kickstarter project, the way it's been constructed with these panels that clip together, and the choice of material. They're using this, what looks like to be printed circuit board, which is a fiberglass mix. And I know from handling that stuff in the future, like in the past, that if you drop it, I have a very strong feeling the corners are going to chip. Maybe they could have used a little bit of a stronger material. I don't know if that's what they chose to use though. But yeah, overall, I'd recommend this as an enthusiast's radio. Now, price, as I'm currently making this was sent in from Banggood, just above £57, I think, is the full price. I get a discount on that. I don't know what it will be until I launch the video, but it should bring it down probably around about £50 just over. You get free postage as well because you're over £40. So if you are interested, I will leave a link in the description. If you do want to go ahead and purchase one, make sure you use my link, and that will save you that extra bit of money. I do apologise because I don't think my link's going to work in USA and Canada and other places. Sorry, that's just how it is. So that's it. That's the end of the video. I'm going to get some more of these TEF radios in. I think we can explore this chip further, and maybe slightly different designs, and maybe try and get some smaller ones maybe as well. But that will all be coming up in the future. So that's the end of the video. As always, I would like to thank you for dropping by and watching my channel. It's still a small channel. It doesn't get that many views per video, so I really appreciate every one of you taking the time. If you get a second before you go, on this side, if you could hit me a thumbs up down below, I do like to see that. That does help the channel as well. But that's it. Please, please, please look after each other, stay safe, and of course, I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.